Welcome to I'm Too Busy, an interview-based show hosted by a talented makeup artist, Christina Flack. Christina offers viewers a unique blend of personal stories, inspiring journeys, and practical beauty tips. Join the conversation as Christina features successful individuals from various industries who share their insights on health, wellness, makeup, and the keys to their success. So now, please welcome the host of I'm Too Busy, Christina Flack.
Hello, welcome to I'm Too Busy TV, the show that brings you conversations with successful entrepreneurs who've mastered the art of balancing their busy lives. I'm your host, Christina Flack, and today we are joined by one of my dear friends, powerhouse beauty and wellness industry expert, Cassandra McClure. Cassandra has worn many hats in her career, from celebrity makeup artist to product inventor, and now she is helping women entrepreneurs scale their businesses to new heights. All right, meet my friend Cassandra.
Hi, it's so good to see you virtually. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. It's such a pleasure. How are you?
Good. Congrats on the new show.
Well, thank you. You've inspired me, as you always do.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, so you have had quite a journey in the beauty industry. Can you tell us a little bit about the transformation? You went from being a makeup artist to a business advisor to an entrepreneur?
Yes. So after being an artist for over 10 years as a professional makeup artist, traveled all over the world, worked on the PGA, worked on TV, worked on music videos. I did all the things that I had on my initial vision board. Went to school in Hollywood, did all the things. I got back to Palo Alto and found out and I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and that impacted my vision. So I got psoriasis. I was diagnosed with all kinds of allergies, and looking at my family, none of them had any of those types of issues. So I knew, internally, that there was something more and there was something deeper at play. And so I just opened up to the universe. I'm really intuitive, and I was talking to this woman. She had had cancer, and it was kind of the first conversation where I was actually talking to someone who had had breast cancer, and she was telling me all about how she had to stop using certain products that when she was going through chemotherapy. And I had asked her more about that because I was like, what kind, And she's like, oh, fragrance things, some of the bath products I was using. And that stopped me in my tracks. And at the time I didn't know that was really it, but I was like, that's so interesting. I use a lot of fragrance. What about perfume? And she goes, oh, that's a huge allergy trigger for me. And the way she used the words together, it lit off a light bulb. And I was like, I'm going to go home and I'm going to do a self cleanse, a detox, and see if any of this is affecting what's going on with me.
And how much time did that take you?
I went home, I put everything in my house. I did a whole cleanse. So everything in my makeup drawers. And then I went to the bathroom, everything in there. Then I went into the laundry room, everything that was in there. And at the time, again, I didn't know or realize that everything in my house had fragrance, like my candles. I was using all Victoria's Secret. I was using Tom Ford, Chanel perfume. I had the whole gamut. And so I started looking at the back of the labels. I had never looked at the back of a label before. And I had been in the beauty industry for so long and had no idea what was in the products I was using, because I thought, I live in the United States. I'm in California. It's regulated. I thought, it was healthy. I didn't know. And so within 72 hours of that conversation, it was a weekend, by Monday morning, I detoxed. So I didn't use any of those products. So I didn't use deodorant. I had no shampoo to use. I went totally crunchy, and my husband was like, what is going on? And he was my boyfriend at the time. And by Monday morning, my friend came over and she's like, oh my God, did you go on a diet? And I was like, no. And she's like, wow, you look great. My inflammation went down, the redness on my face, the bumps and lumps on my body and on my back. My head stopped itching. My eyes stopped watering. I was breathing better. I could see clearer. It was like a huge weight lift off my shoulders. It makes me emotional just thinking about it, because I could not believe that I had been poisoning myself for, you know, 15 years. Like, since the first time I used a CoverGirl compact from my mom's purse when I was like 10, I had been slathering all that all over my face, and I'd become a makeup artist. And the whole reason you become a makeup artist is either you were picked on like I was, or you want to make other people feel beautiful too, that maybe have an insecurity. And for me, it was both of those things. So I was super passionate as an artist, and I just could not believe that that those products. I was working on a campaign with Maybelline at the time, and they sent me mascara to use and to post, and was paid me to do a post. And I didn't even realize or think about the ingredients on a mascara, but when I went through my vanity, I was like going through everything, and I was like, oh my God, this has fragrance in it too. And I was like, my eyes have been watering, and I just thought that that was normal. My husband was always like, are you crying? He would ask me all the time. I'm like, no, my eyes just water naturally. Like, they're really sensitive. And I didn't realize it was sensitivity so it all made sense after that. And he's like, so are you going to go to your wedding makeup this weekend? Like, are you going to go in the room with hairspray and come home with all your allergies freaking out again? Or are you going to retire, or what are you going to do? And it was such a big question. So I was like, oh my God, I don't know, but I definitely don't want to keep putting myself in that position. And I need to like find something healthier. And so I started researching, and he's like, you listen to all these podcasts. Why don't you try to see who else is talking about it? So I looked up the term clean beauty, and nothing came up. And he's like, well, you know what your new job is? And I was like, what? And the Clean Beauty podcast was born in 2018. And it was the first show to ever talk about clean beauty, to interview women in the space on clean beauty, and to really empower other women with this information. It just hadn't been shared this way before. And so I got a lot of notoriety from that. And I thought I was doing well in my career at that point. But once I transitioned into a clean beauty artist, an educator, an advocate, it was like the game changed, because the first retreat that I held, the clean beauty retreat, that was in Forbes. Like, I remember breaking down, crying, because that was like a dream of mine, to like be in Forbes and be taken seriously. And it was because of this clean beauty retreat. So everything changed, and I knew I was on the right path from that point forward. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey. And I think podcasting or doing live shows and TV, like all that's so important, because we have a voice and we can help other people and get them the message out there. And so, yeah, that was really the first stepping stone for me in this whole thing.
So have you ever spoken to any of the companies that have products? Have any of them spoken to you or reached out to you and asked, like, what advice can you give us, after you've had this? Because you clearly aren't the only one who's had this experience. What is it in what ingredient specifically do you know is the one that really triggers your allergies, or that makes you feel so awful?
Yeah. And it's true, like in the clean beauty, that's not a real term. It was just created, and it is really, a lot of people think it's a marketing term. It literally is the word fragrance for me. If something has fragrance in it, and fragrance can hold like hundreds of ingredients, and it was like a loophole. So I think originally it was Chanel that used fragrance as a like a proprietary sort of thing. They didn't want to give out their ingredients for their scents. So they said, we want to disclose our ingredients in this word fragrance, and we'll be able to put that on the label, and then other people can't copy us. That made total sense. But what happened is then everyone was like, oh, well, I want to put formaldehyde in here. I'll just say it's part of the fragrance. Or I want to put, BHT or any of these other ingredients inside that word. And so it became a problem, and it's very apparent. And in places like the UK and other countries, like, this has already been worked on, and there are laws that are in place. The US is just super, super behind. But to answer your question, I remember going to my first EWG event in San Francisco, and Garnier Fructis had a clean shampoo version. And I remember when Chanel came out with their clean makeup. And I've watched, and I've seen brands go clean and sustainable because the demand is there, and the younger generation is aware of this, and we're inundated with toxins in everything that we do. Our phone has EMFs, and our water has this, and our air has that. And it's like, if we're slathering stuff all over, especially our kids, like, if you think about it, at the store, that's kind of the one thing that is usually fragrance free, is the baby stuff. Baby, tear free, fragrance free shampoo. And that's what I resorted to, was the fragrance free stuff, because it didn't create all this, whatever was going on in my body, whether it gave me redness, itchiness, irritation, wherever it was. And so I was like, wow, so the fragrance is really that toxic. And so, yes, I've definitely seen a shift, and it's continuing. Like, there's a clean version space at Target. There's a clean area of Walmart. There's a clean at Sephora. Since 2018, like, all of these new things have come to be because they're looking at, people are catching on. And I love that we're in California, because we're leading the way. Gavin Newsom passed a law, or helped to pass a law with EWG and Breast Cancer Prevention Partners, that says that by next year, fragrance will have to be fully disclosed. So it can't be a loophole anymore, and brands can't hide ingredients in there anymore. They will have to disclose what's in there, because it is causing this issue. So we have made huge strides and passed several laws since that time, when I was with Beauty Counter. And now other companies like Intersense and Juice are continuing to go to DC, be in these protests, lobby, and try to get laws passed. So it's a big issue, but we're taking steps to get there.
Are you finding that there's any pushback from any of these companies, or have you heard anything from anyone?
Yeah, I think, if you go into any major mall or any Walgreens, like, you're still going to see 95% of the products that people know, and all the brands that very well, because they are cheaply made and sold at a cheaper price. And clean beauty is finally getting to a place where we can sort of compete. There are clean beauty brands with, $8, $9 eyeliners. When I first started, they were $32, and they didn't work very well or perform very well. So because of the demand, the prices have come down, so that the ingredients for cleaner beauty and the materials, like sustainable packaging, eco-friendly, biodegradable, refillable, all these things are becoming more of like they're trendy, and more people are going to them because they feel bad about other areas of their life, like drinking their plastic water bottles or whatever else they're doing. So I definitely see the consumer demand has created this, like, companies need to say, especially if they're not innovating new products, like, a lot of them will be like, oh, new sustainable packaging, 95% less, plastic or whatever. And post-consumer recycle, like, they're pulling plastic out of the ocean and putting that into their bottles. So they're using that as a new marketing technique to, Olay or Suave or whatever brands, they can continue to have the same formulas, but then they try to go in the package direction, or whatever will work for them to sort of speak to their audience. Because you're right, like, if there's millions of people that buy their $2 shampoo every couple months, then why change that? Because my mom was one of those people who was like, I'm too old to change. Why would I change now? If whatever is going on, if I have cancer, I already have it. She was and I was like, wow, this is probably what 90% of America thinks, like, that they're used to having these, because I cleansed out her bathroom, and she was really mad at me because I took everything away. And I was like, no, mom, we're going to go to Safeway, to like your favorite store, and we're going to pick out cleaner stuff. And like, I took her there and there was nothing. And this was in like 2019. So there was nothing.
Wow.
And in Safeway still, it's a really tough store. Like they didn't bring in clean products. Like you usually don't go to the grocery store to buy beauty, which is exactly why she had all the traditional stuff. And like, but I would go visit and she would wash my clothes with Tide. I wouldn't think about it. And then I'd be all itchy and I'm like, oh my gosh, she washed my clothes. And so I was like, okay, mom, like, and she's like, well, why do I care? It doesn't affect me. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not good for you. So it's, if it doesn't affect you, then there's definitely, why would you change? But when you're pregnant, you start thinking about it, or when you have a baby and they're really sensitive, then you maybe will change your buying or shopping habits a little bit. But or if you get cancer, and until it's too late for a lot of people, like if they
Right.
find out they have one of these allergies or something. But
We're going to take a little break for 2 minutes and we are going to continue chatting with Miss Cassandra McClure and speaking about clean beauty. It's a fascinating subject and it affects everyone, men and women.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Hello, I'm Christina Flack with I'm Too Busy, and we are chatting today with Cassandra McClure and finding out all about clean beauty, because a lot of people are really, even since it started in 2018, it is growing, but there are a lot of people that really aren't familiar with it and don't realize the importance of it. So, Cassandra, the Clean Beauty Kit was a lifeline for a lot of brands during COVID. What inspired you to create it, and how did it impact the businesses that you work with?
yeah, so great question. With COVID came a lot of trials and tribulations for small business owners. So when I started working with cleaner brands, I noticed that the ones that were local were often the best in terms of emissions and all of that. When you get into sustainability, you're like, how can I support my local businesses? Like we go to the farmers market to get our food. What about beauty? And so I turned to brands like Juice Beauty and Inner Sense that were local, organic, made locally and shipped. And one of the big issues that they had during COVID was that their brand wasn't able to be found at places like Ulta or Sephora, or everything was shut down. And so I came in and said, how can I connect my conscious consumers with brands and these amazing female founders who I really want to support. And so the kit was a natural thing that came out of a summit that I had, which I think you were a part of, in
Yes, I
2020.
remember that.
And so we had, 1,000+ hours, because every week of COVID, we had a new online digital summit. And at the summit, founders would come in: Indy Lee, Carrie Grand, Christina Flack. She has Pretty Girl Makeup. We would have all these amazing founders come in. They would have brands and products people that were watching wanted to try, but they had nowhere to really get them unless they got them on their direct D2C websites. And the pricing at the time of COVID was also really tough, if you were a normal working class citizen. And so I thought, how can I get all these products together and get them out to people either for free or a really reduced cost, so people can try these cleaner products and see what they like and what works for them. So all the brands, all the founders sent me their product, and I packed them in boxes and shipped them out to different influencers, makeup artists, estheticians, general consumers who really wanted to try and were fans of my podcast or coming to the summits, or just found me on Instagram as a creator and wanted to learn more about clean beauty. And so that really took off and lasted about 3.5 years. So we featured over 150 brands inside of the kits. And once COVID, all the restrictions lifted, I felt like it definitely dwindled, because then people could go back into the store and try a lot of these brands. But it was like one of those moments in time where I was responding to a crisis and wanted to help, my friends that were in the industry, because it's not an easy industry to be in the first place.
That is for sure. So why don't we talk a little bit about Lash Binder? How did that come about?
So Lash Binder was my first baby. It came after all of this happened with my autoimmune disease. And while I was forming the podcast, my husband was working on a project, a company that he later sold to Amazon. And watching him design and develop something in our living room from a scratch of paper was really inspiring, like to build something and bring it to life. And so, I leaned on him for support, and he helped me to design, trademark, patent, and launch a beauty tool called Lash Binder. And I wanted to create an eyelash applicator tool to make it easier and faster and safer for women to apply false lashes, because I had probably done around 1,000 makeup appointments to different women over the course of my life. And over half of them, in the conversations during their makeup appointment, when it came to the lash part, that was always something that stuck in my mind, because I would hear all of their either questions, complaints, or they were just telling me a story about what happened with lashes at some point in their life. Like, oh, I wish I could wear lashes, but I glued my eyes closed. Or, oh my God, I can't even hold the lash on the floor. Or, oh my God, I poked myself in the eye with the tweezers. Or, oh my gosh, like, this is the hardest part for me. Like, I don't know how to do it. Like, how do you do it? And that stuck with me. And so when it came, I always, thought the world doesn't need another lipstick, right? I just thought, how can I create a solution if I wanted to create something? And that's really what stuck out to me, because it was so hard for women to do. But it was the most empowering thing when I did their makeup. Like, the lashes change the look. And so
They
for
really
me,
do. It's unbelievable. It really
if I
is.
can help just even a few people or a few makeup artists be able to apply the lashes a little bit more easily, a little bit more sanitarily, a little bit, especially if you have a shaky hand, like a silicone tip was really important to me in case you did poke yourself, because we all make mistakes sometimes, or we have a glass of wine before we put on our makeup, and we don't want, we only have 2 eyes and that's it. You can't grow a new eye. And so safety was really important to me. And so the tool was developed, but I also developed a method of putting the tool, putting the lashes on. So essentially you can dry the lashes upside down on any flat surface. So you can put the tool down and the lashes won't touch anything. Generally, like as a makeup artist, we're going like this, like or you're doing something you shouldn't
Blowing,
do,
yeah.
blowing
Yes.
on it. And that's germs. And especially during COVID, you can't do that. So Lash Binder was really, really fun to build. And at the time, I didn't realize that I would be an advisor to so many other brands. But going through the process from the paper to designing the product and manufacturing and distributing and getting it on Amazon and building my website and making the logo and doing all this fun stuff, it gave me the base of being able to talk to a founder and ask questions that otherwise, as a makeup artist, I wouldn't have been able to really understand. Like creating just one bottle, one formula, one product is so much work. And so I just have so much respect for founders and creators and inventors and other women in my collective and other, founders that I've attracted are inventors like me, like they're creators and they created something really unique. They're solving a problem and they've patented a tool. Like I have someone that I'm working with who designed a brush. I have someone else who designed an applicator for skincare product. And so it's been really amazing to have that kind of experience. And I don't think it was I don't consider anything a failure. It's a learning experience. And for me, the world really wasn't ready and I wasn't ready to invest. I had already invested heavily, like in my savings, putting, all my money into it. I ran a Kickstarter. I successfully raised over $5,000. And then I launched a lash, line with another brand. And then we went to Bottle Rock. We did a couple hundred lashes over the course of a weekend at the big music festival in the Bay Area. And that was a big moment for me, like working like in a spa on a major event. And I really learned a lot from that too. And so like all those experiences led to now. And I think like, as it's almost like anything you do, no matter what profession you're in, if you don't have the experience within that industry, like it's going to be really hard to do anything, right? Like you can't just go open a restaurant and like snap your fingers and get a star, right? You have to work from the bottom, like watch The Bear. Or or as a makeup, you can't just become a celebrity makeup artist. Like that's not how it works. You have to work at the counter and go to school and do 500 makeup appointments for free because everyone wants free makeup. Like you have to learn and grow. And so like for me, like as a startup advisor now and having equity in other people's companies, that just doesn't happen unless you've had the experience doing it and you've learned mistakes and you're open about all of that. And I super am. So it was really all of those lessons that have been able to help me save other women like hundreds of thousands of dollars because
What do
they
you
had.
think's the big what do you
Mhm.
think is the biggest thing that you have taught these women or that come to you with their companies? What is the consistently the same thing that you see over and over again with entrepreneurs in the beauty industry?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of times I'm working with emerging brands and founders and they think it's all this. They sort of want like a content creator, like instant gratification, and they think like, oh, but I have a brand, like why isn't anyone buying it? And they have a website, and they think like all these sales should be happening because they like a product, but then they don't know anything about marketing. Like they created a really good product, and then they realize, oh, but I don't want to be in front of the camera, and they're really shy and they don't want like anyone to know who they are. But if your story is all about how you are solving a problem, it doesn't really make sense for the market. So you either have to rewrite the story and create something different, or you have to get comfortable being in front of the camera. And so I do a lot of coaching and consulting with these founders. And some of them come to me with ideas And I literally talk them out of it. And I tell them that actually the world already has what they think that is so unique. Oftentimes women will come to me and say, oh my God, I have this coconut oil cleanser idea. And I'm like, oh, do you know about all these other 4 or 5, 6 brands? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, you didn't do your market research. And they're like, well, why do I have to do that? And it's like, because you need to know, you can't just be a lawyer and then one day you decide you want a beauty brand and think you have such a unique idea and then go private label. And a lot of people don't even know what that is like going to a company reaches out and say, "Ooh, you look like you could have your own beauty brand. Like, here is a formula. Like, we can put your logo on it and we can even help you with the logo. And then we'll create the website for you. You just buy all this product." And a lot of people will come to me at that stage and I'm like, don't do it. This is a scam, and I've saved a lot of people money and heartache and time, which you can never, ever, ever, ever get back. And so I think it's important to know, like I said, what you're getting into, because yes, this is a $1 billion industry. And I hear that all the time, but, oh, this is a $1 billion industry. There's room for everyone. Sure. But people that know what they're doing. And so you can't just come in one day and get your Michelin star, right? Like, it's just not going to happen. There are celebrity brands, guys, like J-Lo, that are dropping like flies. People don't survive. And so, like, if they're not doing it and they have millions of followers, like Kim Kardashian's brand, like, you can't get bigger than her. And if her brand is not doing well, you need to think about how unique your brand is, right? And like your idea, because they've invested millions of dollars. The other thing I see is like a lot of people not thinking that they need money for marketing and that they don't need PR. But that's like exactly what you need. And if you don't have that, it's like you need, my husband is the one who was telling me like that Nike has like $100 million a year or something crazy, like 50 or 100 million a year just for marketing. And so when a beauty brand is like, oh, I just have like a couple $100, I'm like, that's not going to work. Like, you have to hire an Instagram manager. Oh, well, I do that. And they do everything. And this is how you get burnout and you become depressed. You cannot be on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and be your assistant and answer all your emails and take care of your family, your husband, your dog, your kid, and your house, and have like all these different things going on and think you're going to be successful. Like, not in the history of the world has it been one person, just like even Elon Musk. Like, look at anyone. They have 100 people on their team. And so, when you start, a lot of people find me in the beauty industry and I'm like, okay, I am this one little tiny piece of your team. I'm your business strategist. I'm your advisor. I can help you save a lot of money and time and energy from all these emails and people that are, trying to constantly sell you on all their services and makes you think that you need this seal of approval and this, LEED certified and all these different things. And like, and you can't do it all. So you have to be really laser focused. And I think it's like people will skip the step of like their business plan. I'm like, oh, can you send me your deck? They're like, what's a deck? I'm like, okay, we got to start over here. So I think there's just a lot, that you have to do for your business, like any business. It's not just fun. So
no, it's so much more than you can even imagine. And I think, people go into it with a great idea, but when they realize that you need a business plan, you need funding, you can't compete in the beauty industry against a Kim Kardashian and a J-Lo with $100. Because if they're not making it with an endless supply of money, it's impossible. And it's changed so much because I started Pretty Girl in 1999. There were no Facebook, TikTok influencers. It was celebrities, publicists, and stylists, and the celebrity, and that was that. And it's changed so much, and you really have to learn to flow with the changes because the algorithm is constantly changing, and it sounds like so much fun and so glamorous. And yes, there are moments of it, but I think you have to go into the beauty industry really loving what you do because it takes much more time, money, effort than you can even imagine. And if you're going into it just to make money, you will resent it, just like what Cassandra said, you're going to burn out because it is constant. There is so much, and it just keeps more and more and more keeps evolving. The TikToks, the Instagram, the Facebook, the X. It's just, and getting these influencers that are key now for a product to be successful. So we are going to take another break, and we're going to come back with Cassandra McClure, and we are going to find out how she keeps balance in her crazy busy life.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Hello, I am Christina Flack, and you are watching I'm Too Busy TV, and we are here today with Cassandra McClure. So, how do you balance all that you do, your company with, a personal life, having a baby and a husband and everything else? How do you balance? Do you have balance?
Yeah, I think there's really no such thing, because when you have a startup and you're really passionate and you're an entrepreneur, like if you look at all the successful people, whether they're in tech or beauty or whatever, you'll hear time and time again that they worked 14 or 18-hour days. And yes, that's not healthy. Yes, they should be taking these breaks. But there's definitely a time and a place for that. It's like when you're in your prime, or you kind of have to do that kind of lifestyle to make something successful. And so that's what I did for many years before having my kid. And then even while I was pregnant, and even now, I do work long days and hours, early in the morning to late at night. And I think the biggest thing that I've done to be able to manage everything is the external help and the team that I have. I enrolled my kid in full-time school, a very expensive school in the Bay Area. We have help, nanny, and even with, house chores like hiring maids. All of that's so important, because if you want to be serious about your business, like you have to decide, like, are you going to clean for 4 hours, or are you going to work for 4 hours? And like, where's your time best spent, and kind of do the math. And so for me, I knew, okay, I have to have a VA. I have to have an assistant. I have to have someone help me with my social media and manage my Instagram account, because it doesn't also bring me joy. And so like for certain I will say, like, TikTok, like, I still don't understand it. So unless someone else is managing that, I'm not going to spend my time there. And I think also, like, having a photographer and like people you can call on when you need a videographer, or I need my makeup done, or I need someone to come, you know, help me with something, like, not having that is detrimental. Because if you do have an opportunity come up, like for instance a babysitter, like I just got asked to go to Denver for Newtopia, and without my support system at my beck and call, like it wouldn't be possible. So I think setting all of that up, to be successful is important, because it's not just me, it's my husband has his startup too. And you know we love being parents. I love my, job as a mom. Like, it is another whole job in itself. But I think it's important to try to balance by having other people to lean on, if that makes sense.
What about your self-care? Like, what do you do for you to feel good? Do you work out? Do you have a special diet? What do? Do you get enough sleep? What is it that you do that makes you feel good?
Yeah, I think, drinking enough water. I don't drink that much anymore, if at all. And so that's been a huge like upgrade in my life. Like, I have had a bottle of champagne in the fridge for like 2 weeks now, and like I just can't come to like drink it because I feel like I know I'm gonna get a headache. And so um that's been big, because sometimes I'll have a headache for a day or two, or be hungover. I'm just not as resilient as I used to be when it comes to that. I ride my bike. I walk. Before this, my yoga mat is on the floor over here because I was stretching. I just stretch myself out. I do my tapping. I do my woo woo. I pulled my tarot card today. I take my baths. I do my masks. My self care routine is like, I do 5, 6, 7, 8 steps at night, and in the morning I wash my face. I kind of do, my SPF full body. And so like those are all self care things for me. And I think it depends like what self care means for you. Like, it's different for everyone. For me, like, I love shopping. So like I spent like 2 hours shopping last night and buying everything I wanted, just to like, and it was just like little things that I needed that are like on my to-do. And it's kind of beautiful to be able to like Instacart everything nowadays. And I'm talking food too. I think that's the other like time saver. Like, I used to go to Costco, and like it would probably be 2.5 hours out of my day, out of my week. And now it's all dropped off. I don't go to the grocery store anymore unless it's like Trader Joe's really fast. So that has been huge for me. And yeah, I mean, it tells you how many hours you've saved. Like, I've saved days of my life going to Costco. And so that's huge. And I don't care how much it costs. Like, I'm a lifetime member, because let's face it, I hate Costco. Like, I don't see any, like, I don't do business there. I'm like not a fan of of any of it. And so I've figured out ways to manage my time, whether it's my laundry service, um, pre-booking my facials, my nail appointments, my hair appointments. I have one this Friday so that I'm ready for all my photo shoots, because I have one like once a month to refresh my image. I think it's so important to have new photo and video all the time. I just did a huge production last week. This week I have another one, and then I have another one in Denver the week after that where I'm speaking on stage. I have like a huge conference that I'm doing. So I think, for me, it's the self-care of like making sure that I'm buttoned up head to toe, because at the end of the day, I'm in beauty. And so I think that it is very important how you look, like people are looking at you to trust you for advice and ask you what you're wearing and what you're doing. And so, my sponsors are not going to want to sponsor me if I don't look the
No,
part.
I mean, part of being in this industry, no one's going to listen to us if we, show up disheveled and our skin's looking terrible and, everything's a mess. Like, that is part of the deal of being in this industry. And, sometimes it is a lot, but it's just part of it. And it's not the worst thing in the world, but it is definitely something that we have to think about. When I go on NBC on California Live or different podcasts and they're asking about, beauty and wellness, if I don't take care of me, I'm my brand. And it's the same with you. You're your brand. And people see you and they look at you and they think, wow, look at her. She looks so healthy. She looks so rested. She looks amazing. I want to be like that. And so that is part of what we do. And it is exhausting sometimes. And sometimes when my assistant tells me I'm going to be on another podcast, I'm like, please tell me it's not a video, because I don't want to have to hire myself and look like this. Sometimes I just want to be in my baseball hat and my sweats, but that doesn't happen too often.
You know what? I just told my editor, Doris, bless her heart, for the Clean Living magazine, that for the rest of the interviews that she does on my show this year, because I also gave that off to someone else to start hosting the show and doing the interviews. I was like, make sure your video is on, make sure you're doing these videos, because that's what's capturing all these other social channels, whether you're watching from LinkedIn or YouTube or whatever. Like, get the most out of it, because you can't go back. And a lot of people consume content watching or being able to look over and see the video. And so, like, yeah, for those, it's like, you don't have to do as much because it's video, but you get yourself a good light. Like, without it, I think you look a little different. You like put on your light,
totally,
and you get comfy. You have your mug, and you do the things you need to do. I'm not wearing pants right now, so it's nicer than having to not be able to go to the studio. This is a dress, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, we're going to take a commercial break. We are going to be right back with Cassandra, and we are going to find out more about her busy, busy life, because she is too busy.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Hello, I am Christina Flack, and this is I'm Too Busy TV, and we are with my dear friend, Cassandra McClure, and she's going to tell us about an upcoming event this Sunday.
Yeah, no, we were just chatting about that during the break. So there's, at the Park James Hotel in Menlo Park, there is a Caribbean Dream. It's a sip and shop event for creatives and local business owners and professionals to come out and sip and shop local brands for a good cause. It's there's a celebrity stylist, Carlton Jones, who is raising funds for Sarah and Michael Franti's Do It for the Love Foundation. It's benefiting children, and it's a really a beautiful organization that brings music to children, especially with cancers and things like that. So that's Sunday, August 18th, 11 to 1 at the Park James Hotel. And then the evening before is a runway show on the 17th. So that's Saturday night.
Oh, that's
I'm actually walking and volunteering and walking in a bikini down the runway just
oh my
to
God.
raise awareness for this cause. So it's really exciting. I love the Park James. I've done many, many events there, and they actually carry Juice Beauty, which is like unheard of to think, hotels generally get the cheapest soaps that they can in their rooms, but they actually really invested in a woman owned, local organic brand to carry in their with their shampoo and conditioner and all of that. So I love their
That's
boutique little hotel and great food too. So definitely check it out or get in touch with me if you want to learn more about participating or coming by to support.
And what is there a website that people can go to find more out about it or to get tickets?
So it is just come as you are in tropical Caribbean attire, and all are welcome. So you don't need to really register anywhere. It's really just for a good cause. I'm gonna have a lash binder pop up and do lashes, and then the proceeds are going to this foundation. So
That's great. Well, thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to do some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
yeah.
Okay, tell me the three most influential people in your life and how they've impacted you.
Ooh, Twyla Harrison, she's my business advisor and strategist. And so I got into kind of what I'm into because she helped unlock things in me that I didn't know were possible. My husband, he is so inspiring, and I'm always in awe of everything he's doing and building. And then the third, I would say, my first thought was Oprah because I don't really know her personally yet, but I feel like she's a huge inspiration. I was just listening to her podcast the other day, and she just her like rags to riches story, like everything she does is really great, and I love aspiring to. I was on a short list with her once, and I was like, okay, we're getting there, because I've always thought like something's going to happen soon with her and I somehow, and so I'm putting that out to the universe.
I love that. Where does your soul live?
In my daughter, I feel like I have so much anxiety. Um, I
Is there
guess,
a place in the world that like is so special that you get there and you go, oh, I breathe. That's what I mean. Where does your
yeah,
soul
it's
live?
it's like at the beach. I feel like I've spent so much time in like Pacifica, the Palisades, like different areas of the California coastline. As soon as my feet hit the sand, like I don't care if it's freezing, it's like that gives me so much relief. So I love the beach.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What is your best beauty hack?
Lash binder. A little concealer, like a little concealer for me because I have dark circles. Like if I have a little concealer that goes a long distance to make me look awake.
What is the biggest makeup mistake most people make?
Not actually taking their mirror up to a window, like, and getting real natural light, because I often see this line on their face of like the wrong color, or they like aren't blending it, or they're using too much because I can like see it coated on their face. Like I am all about like the natural beauty and like letting your skin kind of shine through. And so I think skin prep is really important, and a lot of people just like don't wash their face. They're not using a moisturizer or a serum or an oil, whatever their skin needs. And so like whatever they're putting on top is just almost like a coating, and it's not beautiful. And you can and the worst compliment you can get is like, oh, your makeup looks good. And you don't want anyone to pinpoint that it's the makeup. Like you want them to say, wow, you look amazing. That's the best compliment you can get.
What are three things that you would need if you were stuck on an island? And they
Sunscreen.
don't have to be makeup. It can be
Yeah,
anything.
sunscreen for sure, a huge hat, and water.
Yeah, right? A water filter. What has been your least favorite job that you've ever had?
I think was probably my first job. Oh, Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen.
Oh, okay. And what's your favorite childhood memory?
Hmm. Wow. I feel like I grew up really fast, and so real childhood, um, like pony, like riding my aunt's pony around. And my mom threw me the best parties, like for my birthday, because she worked at a party store. So we got like cotton candy machine, snow cone machine, bounce house, kind of like anything you'd want at a cool party, like hundreds of balloons with helium, like things that rich people had. Like we were not that well off. And so, like, but my parties, people were like, what the heck? Because my mom
That's
would
a,
like go all out.
what is the best compliment you've ever received?
Still waiting for that one.
Oh, I don't believe you.
Um, like I said, the Fords, like for me, I felt like, it's not like I got paid to be in Forbes or anything. Like quite the like, I worked so hard to like be recognized and be like in a publication that I looked up to like that. I think that like gave me this like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path. And it was more so feeling like that like I was guided, and I had so much gratitude for those and other publications that like recognized me, because I felt like, as an artist, it is very hard. So
Okay, this is a quick one. Pie or cake?
cake. Love me some
Cassandra,
cake.
I have enjoyed having you so much. I could chat with you for 5 hours. Thank you so much. We are going to have all your info in the show notes. I wish you nothing but amazing success. And I am so proud of all that you do. I am proud you're my friend. And I just want to thank you so much for being on I'm Too Busy today and sharing all about your busy life. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I love the show. I can't wait to hear more.
Thank you.
This has been I'm Too Busy with host Christina Flack. Tune in each week as Christina approaches the concept of success holistically, recognizing that achievement is not solely measured by financial triumphs, but also by maintaining a healthy work-life balance and focusing on self-care. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network, powered by B2 Studios.